By popular demand of my Patreons and my subscribers, along with a collaboration with TSM, this is the second part in the 7-part series of making a TSM profile from scratch. Let us begin. Starting where we left off when it comes towards our basic TSM profile of our YouTube version, we can have a look at our nice little groups, and today we're going to be checking out crafting. Now, crafting is a fairly standard, straightforward procedure, so we'll be breaking this into everything right there. What we'll be wanting to do is look at our group that we created for cooking. We've got our yellow spotted tail from the last episode, and we can have a look at our operations now. We now want to create a crafting operation. Now, we do have a default, however, like I stated before, I like to go with a new operation, so let's create that new operation right here within TSM. We're just going to call this one cooking craft op, and we're just going to call this one the cooking craft operation. Now, if we have a look at everything, we're going to be wanting to set up a few little prerequisites. What we'll be wanting to do first of all is have a look at our restock operations. We'll be wanting to set our minimum restock quantity. This is the baseline of if you only have like a certain amount, the amount numbered in the auction house, then you'll be wanting to restock. This one we can always set to 1, as I always generally set it to 1 regardless. And when it comes towards our cooking, this is more of a volume based game, so what we'll be wanting to do here is we'll be wanting to set the max restock quantity, let's just say 200, because we want to set that to a maximum amount of 200 items on the auction house. So if it's anywhere in between 200 and 1, it will restock that amount. So if we had 50, let's just say, on the auction house, it will ask us to craft 150 of those items within the cooking groups. Now we'll be wanting to set our min profits. Now by default, by creating this group, it's saying 100 gold, but the common census for this is 20% crafting. Now 20% crafting is the crafting value, and then 20% on top of that. TSM already accounts for 100% of the crafting cost in our crafting value, so we don't need to add 120% crafting. We're just looking for the minimum profit amount, which is 20%, and that is usually the common census when we're crafting for min profit. It's kind of like the bread and butter standard procedure is 20% profit on top of that. So if we go over towards our crafting value now, we can have a look at overriding the default craft value. So TSM already has a default craft value, which if we press yes, we can have a look at what it is. And overall, when we're looking at this, we can just leave this as it is for the time being, and then in later episodes we can adapt this to actually take into account of other things. A big thank you to TSM for sponsoring this video. They've rolled out new premium tiers and a fresh new website. With the gold tier, you get access to your add-on data on their website and receive email alerts when your tracked items hit certain price points on the auction house and black market auction house respectively. If you opt for platinum tier, you'll also enjoy advanced ledger data, automatic group imports, and Discord alerts along with email notifications. Plus, you'll be able to see sale prices and rates over time for each item. Don't forget to use the link in the description for 15% off for your first premium package. Thank you TSM for sponsoring this video once again, and now back to the video. Moving forward, but at this moment in time we'll just go with the first DB min buyout and DB market just as the baseline to get you guys started with a basic crafting operation. With your management options, you do have the ability to pick and choose of the faction names and everything on there, and ignoring certain characters with certain professions if you wish. I can go through any one of my characters, and obviously you can see a load of Argent Dawn right here. If I wanted Elu to be ignored, which is my wife's character, then I can set that to that character right there, and then just click out of it, and it will ignore that character for crafting, as she generally doesn't craft. She just likes doing her skinning and her leather working to herself, so we'll ignore that character when it comes towards the crafting operation. The next thing of note is selecting the group management. Now, just much like everything else, we'll be wanting to go over towards our cooking group, and any of the subgroups within that cooking thing that we've added in, which Yellowtail is underneath vanilla, we can apply this cooking operation to the cooking. So we can select the group, and it will change it in our chat log right here for cooking craft operation to cooking. So if we close this down and we go in towards our cooking operation, we can apply the TSM setup right now, and we can restock these groups. And after selecting these guys and pressing restock groups, it will come up with the yellow spotted tail. Apparently, according to TSM at this moment in time, we have set this to restock for 200 of that item, so it's doing exactly what we've told it to do in that operation. So let's pull up that operation right here, and we can see that we're wanting to restock 200. However, with everything, it's now giving us a queue summary that it will give us a crafting cost of 3,517 gold, so not too shabby for the yellow spotted tail, and the estimated profit is saying 186,000 gold. Now, for simplicity's sake, if we have a look at this item right here, we can see that we only sell around about 2 per day, so maybe we want to adjust this for our cooking, but we don't want to play around with this baseline overall. So what we can do is we can go in towards our groups, we can then grab that vanilla one, and we can see that that one has that operation of cooking craft operation. So with that being said, we'll be wanting to do a minor adjustment to everything, and we'll be wanting to make a subgroup in that one. So we'll make a new crafting operation for that particular craft for vanilla. So if we go in towards here, we can say that we can just call it restock 5, and then we'll just set the maximum in that to 5. So now, once we've actually applied that to the vanilla group, not the main group, we can apply that, and then we can clear all in our profession, go to restock, and then press that restock button again, and now it's asking us to just restock 5 because it's at a profit of those of what we said. It's over 20% crafting as our min profit, and it's now telling us it's going to cost us 87 gold, and we'll make around about 4,657 gold profit on top of that. So not a problem right there. And the group under group management is just saying it's going from the vanilla base. Now, there is some other little tips and tricks for the restock quantity options, which we'll get around to at a later date. However, this is just the basic overview on how to get these operations up and running. Our crafting operation of restock 5 is doing exactly what we want, and anything in that cooking operation we'll be wanting to add a new item in there just to show you guys how it's actually working. So if we go over towards vanilla once again, and let's just say that we'll go with the rainbow fin albacore. If we get this item right here, we can see that the crafting value is a lot less, but for grouping situations, we'll just group this into the main group of that. So like we did before in the last video, we'll go towards our base group. We can go shift click, and we can find that albacore. Now be careful, some of these items will give you the recipe, the raw, so we just want the one that with the crafting, and then we'll just be wanting to add that to our cooking, because we don't want it to be affected by our restock 5, we want it to be a restock of 200. So we'll select the group into our base, and we'll just move the item over towards that. And if we have a look right now, we can see that in the main one, it's underneath there as our catch all for auctioning operations and our crafting operation as well. So that being said, if we now go back in towards our TSM UI, we can have a nice little mosey over towards everything, and we can just clear all, restock the group, and now it's saying it will restock 200 of those, but 5 of those, because the yellow spotted one is affected by the operation of the Restock 5, and then the base one of Cooking Craft operation at 200. So it's going to be affected through that. So there we go. We can see that we can now do a decent amount with that, and we can increase our gold value when it comes towards crafting. Now the next question is a posting operation for crafted items. Now if we go in towards our auctioning, we'll be wanting to make a crafting operation. So let's just create a basic crafting operation. And we're going to call it crafting post op, as this is a basic one. Now if we go in towards our group management, let's not forget this, and we'll just apply this to the cooking operation base group, as it will affect every single one of them inside of it unless declared otherwise. So let's select that group. It's now set it in our chat, and then we can go over towards our posting operation. Remember, I'm leaving cancelling as it is, and when it comes towards crafted items, we're just going to leave the auction duration as 24 hours. Post cap, like I said before, I like to have it at 50,000, so I'm just going to leave it at 50,000. Post after this many expires, I'm going to leave all of this as 0, and we're just going to go down to the posting price operation right now. So if we have a look at everything, we're going to go towards our drop down for when below minimum. We're going to set at minimum price, and then we're going to be wanting to change this. Now with this posting operation, we'll be wanting to set this at what we actually want it to. So our minimum price is 120% crafting. This is not like the crafting operation where we're setting the min profit at 20%, but this one will be setting the min as 120% crafting, as we need to account for the crafting cost as well. If you set it at 20%, it will just do 20% of the overall crafting value of that, so you need to add that 20% on to make sure of that. So with our minimum price crafting operation at 120% crafting, if we go over towards our normal price now, we're going to be wanting to set this to at least 200% crafting, and with our maximum, let's just do it like we did with our farming at 500. Now the next thing is we're going to be wanting to craft said items. Now I'm going to remove these rainbow fins because I really don't want to be making these things. At the end of the day, we've now got our crafting post operation, so we can close all of that down because it's affected into our group's operation. So we can see that we've got our restock groups, and we can clear all, and now we're going to do a full scale craft. Now I'm just going to select vanilla, as we just want to grab the ones with the yellow spotted tail fin. So let's now gather up all of our items. We'll be wanting to go over towards our gathering. What we'll be wanting to do is select 𝐵𝐿𝐻𝐿. He is my mage, he can do this, and it's really easy for him in order to do. However, he's got the cooking craft for that, so what we'll be wanting to do now is make sure that the profession is selected, he is selected, and then open the task list. Close this down quickly, and then we'll be wanting to go to the auction house. Now, overall, I've got Brutosaur, so that being said, we can go over towards our lovely little Brutosaur right here, and with our TSM task list, we can go over towards the browse section. This will give you an option in that TSM task list for scan all, and we're now scanning for those items. Now, we can see that I can buy out 50%, 58%, and the rest of them are at 194% on that. Ideally, when you're buying out items for materials, you want to adjust for this and be cautious of price fluctuations, as 2 of these are at 58%, so 10 gold, but some of them are over that DB market value and the material cost that we've actually set in our crafting operation. So you may not want to do this craft, and you may want to just skip this altogether and just close it down. That is totally fine in order for you to do, because you will lose gold on this, but for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to buy this out just so I can show you guys everything, because if it's out over the material cost, you will get a contains auctions above material value, and this is a nice little warning to tell you that you could lose gold on this depending on the profit margin, so be wary of this. I'm going to do this for the sake of the video, So yes, I am sure it will give you a thing of whether you want it or not, and we've now just bought that item. So if we run over towards everything and we just go over towards our mailbox and select all bought items, which is our fins, and now it gives us an option. As we're not currently on 𝐵𝐿𝐼t, we're on Cortana, we're going to be wanting to send this over. Now TSM gives you the option to automatically sell all of the materials that you've got, so if your bags are really messy, it knows what items it needs to send to that character. So 𝐵𝐿𝐼t, so I can just press send right here instead of manually sending all of those items over. So sent to 𝐵𝐿𝐼t, and what we need to do is we need to switch to 𝐵𝐿𝐼t as the task list tells you to do. This is really easy, as if I log out and go over towards 𝐵𝐿𝐼t, I can then just log into him and we can start our base crafting. If we run over towards our mailbox, we can open that up and select those items right there on our task list. The task list is now just not needed anymore, so we can just close that down and all of that. So what we can then do is we'll be wanting to open up our little fireplace for everything. If we press K and go into everything, go over towards our cooking, set up a little cooking fire, and then we'll go in towards our TSM of cooking overall. And now we've got those materials in our bag with everything, we can then go over towards our crafting operation and it will tell us to do that, and we can craft all of those ones right there. Spotted yellow tails are now being crafted for everything at that profit margin. Obviously it's going to be at a loss now because TSM has updated for us. However, for simplicity's sake, you basically press craft next for everything in that restock list for simplicity's sake. Now all we need to do now is just send that back over towards our character of Cortana, as she is our banker, and we are then going to just press Cortana or go into contacts. We can then select those spotted yellowtails and then send mail over towards Cortana, and we can log out and go back into Cortana. If we go in towards our mailbox right now we're back onto her, we can just select all other ones, and we've now got those yellow spotted tails that we asked to craft for. Now let's post them onto the auction house. So if we go towards auctioning and we then select our cooking, we can then run post scan on here, and it will say the operation that's posting it at is crafting post op operation, so we know that that's working within our TSM, as our crafting post op is applied towards anything within the cooking group, as we can see on the tooltip right here. Obviously it's telling us that the min buyout is 998 gold. However, it's adjusting for the actual value on that as well, which TSM already did for us with everything. So then all we've got to do now is we're going to post at a 20% profit at our minimum and a 200% at our normal. And what it's saying now is it's above the max price, so it's posting at our max price, which we set in our posting, and it's posting it at 500% crafting. That means we're going to be making around about 400% profit on top of this for over the crafting value, so not a problem right there, and that will apply it to everything. Percentages are great with TSM, so this works really well. So we'll just post that to the auction house. We'll go into my auctions and we can search for that group right there. If we go over towards our cooking and we can select that group, we can see that the yellow spotted tail is right there, and it's ready to be done. That is the basic of setting up your TSM crafting and setting up the posting operation to coincide with that. Like I said, in a later date we'll get into a bit more technical on how all of these operations will apply, but this is just a basic setup in order to get you started and get things just actually starting to automate itself with everything. Next up on our next video list is TSM mailing. As you can see, we had to go all the way over to 𝐵𝐿𝐼t, so let's make that a bit more easier in the next video. Other than that, have a lovely rest of your day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon.